Should you buy new construction or should you buy an existing home? Well, in this video, I'm going to go over the pros and cons of buying new construction versus buying an existing home. Hello, my name's Tyler Ford, Tucson, Arizona with eXp Realty, and welcome to another episode of Living in Tucson, your Tucson real estate connection. And over the years, I've helped tons of clients buy new construction and also buy existing homes. And when making a decision, it's important to understand the pros and cons of both. And both have their pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages. I first want to start off with the pros and advantages of new construction. And there's a lot of reasons why people are attracted to new construction. But the first pro to new construction is customizable options. And with new construction, there's a lot of bells and whistles and things that you can choose from in order to customize it to make the home exactly the way you want it to be. The second pro to new construction is modern amenities. And especially with technology, a lot's changed over the years. And with new construction, you get all the modern amenities from a technology standpoint, whether it's the security system or Ethernet, wired for internet, the surround theater style surround systems now that come with homes. So there's a lot of bells and whistles you can choose from to make the technology of the home all neat, nice, and wired all in one place. And that's a big reason why people are attracted to new construction. Another big reason people gravitate towards new construction is energy efficiency. And this one's big. A lot of the builders now are foam spraying homes. And from an energy efficient standpoint, it's going to be a whole lot more energy efficient, and it's going to save you a lot of money when it comes to your utility bills because the HVAC systems are all much more energy efficient, the appliances, so it all adds up. The windows, so at the end of the day, the home is going to be a lot more energy efficient and less expensive to heat and cool. The next pro to new construction is warranty protection. And I'm not going to dive deep into the various warranties, but with new constructions, there's warranties that range from anywhere from the first year up to about 10 years. So check with the builder, but again, warranty protection. And the big ones after year 2, where you might want to have an inspector come in, do an inspection. That way you can take advantage of the warranties so they don't expire. The next pro to new construction is the potential for lower maintenance or deferred maintenance costs up front. So when you buy new construction, you typically don't have any big budget busters right out of the gate where you would maybe on an existing home. So your monthly or annually deferred maintenance costs are going to be a lot less. And the last pro to new construction is the builder incentives. And interest rates have been on a tear over the last couple of years, and home affordability, it's never been more expensive just because interest rates are much higher than they were. But the nice thing about dealing with the builder, they have certain incentives where they can do what are called buy downs in order to buy down your rate so your monthly mortgage payment is less right out of the gate, which can save you a lot of money. And then the other thing to check on too with the builder is their insurance premiums. And just lately I had a couple clients that got a couple different quotes, and the insurance premium with the builder was actually a lot less, and they got the buy down. So it's a big reason as to why people are gravitating to new construction for all those reasons. And again, we help clients negotiate those deals, and with new construction, there's some things that you can do with the builder in order to get a much better deal, and we would love to help you if you're looking at new construction. Okay, so now let's talk cons, disadvantages to new construction. And there's definitely some disadvantages. The first disadvantage is higher upfront costs. So typically when you buy new construction, you've got to put quite a bit of money down in order to secure the lot and get that builder moving forward. It's somewhat similar to the earnest money when you buy an existing, but typically it's a little bit more, and you're tying that money up for a longer period of time, because typically on a new build, you're looking at anywhere from 4 to maybe 8 months. And again, you got to put that money down and it's tied up for a longer period of time and it's more money. The next thing is limited options. So typically with new construction, it's on the outskirts where these builders can get a big bulk of land. They typically can buy it for less, but it's where the vacant land is usually on the outskirts of cities and towns like Tucson. You know, it's where the sprawl is. It's on the outer side, and it's rare that you can find an infill development to be closer to, let's say, central Tucson. So you're going to be somewhat limited in terms of location, and you're subject to where they're building. The next con or disadvantage is the potential for the final sales price to go up. And since COVID hit and inflation has been going through the roof, and material costs and labor costs, it's somewhat of a moving target. So take a look at the purchase contract. A lot of builders and new construction, they're putting a clause in there that if the costs go up, your final sales price could be subject to change. So it could be somewhat of a moving target just based on material cost. The next con or disadvantage is the uncertainty about the final product. Again, and if you go look at reviews, I've had clients out there get scared of new construction because they see bad reviews. But a lot of those bad reviews came during COVID when homes weren't being completed on time just because they couldn't get the materials in order to finish a home, and or rates were going through the roof. And if they didn't finish the home on time, they could be subject to a higher rate. And therefore, people got really annoyed, and there's some bad reviews out there. But for the most part, the bad reviews came from higher rates and a moving target in terms of sales price and not being able to get the home finished on time. The next thing is lack of an established neighborhood. So typically new construction, you know, they've got all new vegetation and things, and so neighborhoods really aren't established, and or there's not other things around that new construction subdivision, whether it's grocery stores, gas stations, and all the amenities, but you know, it's slowly built out over time. So you might have to drive a little bit further, and it's just the unfinished nature of new construction. But over time, it starts to mature and develop. And then the last pro or disadvantage is typically in new construction, you're subject to an HOA. And I know I work with a lot of clients, and there's clients out there with absolute must, no HOA. Well, if you're buying new construction, for the most part, you're going to be subject to an HOA. So if an HOA is not for you, then new construction is not for you. So that's my take on the cons of disadvantages of new construction. Just a little side note, and it's not a pro or a con, but if you are considering buying new construction, you do not want to skip this step. And I see a lot of agents and buyers miss this step on new construction because it's not something that you've got to do. It's not mandatory. And that is get your new constructed home inspected. And you want to do 2 inspections. And one is pre-drywall, and then the other one is the final. So the pre-drywall one's really, really important, because once they drywall the home and button it up, you can't see behind the walls. And I've had, a couple different clients recently where we did 2 inspections, and I was kind of blown away at how many things the inspector actually caught. And the builder was awesome, and they worked with us to get those things done. But they've got inspectors coming out to inspect these homes to prevent any issues. But again, in both the pre-drywall and the final, we found quite a few things that the city or county inspector didn't catch that the builder went through and made right. So again, it's worth the peace of mind, and it's worth the money to make sure that you get an inspection inspector and do pre-drywall and do a final, and then have a final punch list that you give to the builder to make sure that it's done right. So again, do not skip this step, and it's worth the money and the peace of mind. Now let's talk pros or advantage of buying an existing home. And there's a lot of reasons why people gravitate to buying an existing home. But the first pro to buying an existing home is buying in an established neighborhood and being close to all the amenities. And so, whether it's a neighborhood that you want to be in, typically you can set up a search, just a matter of being patient until a home comes up to be able to buy in a certain area. And there's a lot of times people, want to be in certain areas, whether it's being close to a school or in a school district or close to the loop, or you just want to be close to maybe relatives. You've got that luxury with buying an existing home that you can buy where you want to be, where new construction, you're just subject to where they're building. So that's a huge advantage, is just being able to buy where you want to live. The next thing is room for negotiating. When you buy an existing home, you're able to negotiate price, and there's room to negotiate. Where on new construction, the price is the price, and there's typically no room to negotiate. The next advantage to buying an existing home is the move-in time is a much quicker process. If you're paying cash, just a matter of getting it closed quickly, and you could be moved in within a couple of weeks. If you're getting a mortgage, the process typically takes 30 to 45 days. So an existing home, if you need something quickly, it gives you that flexibility to be able to move in a whole lot quicker and not have to wait for a home to be built. The next thing is the uniqueness or architectural design that a lot of existing homes have to offer. And, working with clients, sometimes a client, in terms of their criteria, is they want something unique, or they want the space in order to be able to create that uniqueness. So with an existing home, you can typically buy a home that has a little bit more land or more elbow room in order to create that uniqueness. And then the last pro or advantage is, being able to buy a home that's not in an HOA. So, there's a lot of existing homes that are in HOAs, but, when I work with clients, sometimes they say, we do not want to be in an HOA. So you've got that flexibility to be able to set the search up, no HOAs. So those are the pros of buying an existing home. But the big one is usually just being able to get in quickly and not have to wait, and then also being able to negotiate price and being in the area that you want to be in. Those are the big benefits to buying an existing home. Okay, so now let's talk about the cons, the disadvantages to buying an existing home. And the first one is higher maintenance cost, deferred maintenance. And when you buy an existing home, again, it depends on how old the home is and how well the previous owner or owners have kept up on deferred maintenance. But your maintenance costs can be a lot more expensive when it comes to an existing home, whether it's the roof, an older HVAC system, plumbing, there's just water heater. I mean, there's a lot of things that can go wrong in an existing home. So something to consider is typically your deferred maintenance and your maintenance costs are going to be higher on an existing home. The other con to an existing home is limited customization. It's already been built. It is what it is. I mean, anything can be fixed with money and you can do various things. But again, if you want to do those things, it's a cost. So you're somewhat limited in terms of the customization unless you want to dump money into it. The next thing is it might require some renovations. It could be totally outdated, like we talked about in new construction with an existing home, probably not wired for all the modern technology. Again, all these things can be done, but it's going to cost you some money. And sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to do on an existing home where you got to move walls or there's no crawl space to put in a lot of the technology that you need to put in. So again, all these things can be done, but on an existing home, you don't have the modernization of the technology that would exist if you buy new construction. The next con to an existing home is hidden defects. So when you buy an existing home, you're going to do an inspection, you're going to do all these things, but there's some things that the inspector just will not find. These are called hidden defects. And again, you can do a really thorough job on your inspections in order to minimize surprises down the road in terms of budget busters. Regardless, you're just going to have some hidden defects that could cost you a lot of money down the road. The next disadvantage to an existing home is utility costs. And so older homes, they just did not have the insulation quality, the windows, the updated HVAC systems. So from an energy efficient standpoint, an existing home typically is not going to be as energy efficient. Therefore, your utility costs are typically going to be higher. The other thing is, older appliances too, those aren't as energy efficient. So again, on an existing home, all these things that are cons, they can certainly be fixed, but again, at what expense? So with money, all these things can be dealt with, but those are the big disadvantages of buying an existing home. There's definitely pros and cons to new construction and buying an existing. So if you're considering buying a home and trying to understand what you want to do, we would love to help, whether it's new construction or existing. We're definitely here to help, and we can set up a search based on your criteria. And what a lot of clients do initially, if they're trying to figure out what they want to do, they'll set up a search for existing homes and then new construction to better understand price and location. And then slowly start to figure out what it is that you want to do. So having that search set up in the MLS is a good way to go about it. And if it's new construction that you're wanting to do, reach out to us, because we can make an appointment with the builder and we can take you out to the model homes, better understand floor plans, upgrades, amenities, lot location, all those things. We would love to help. So again, there's pros and cons to new construction or existing. And again, if you have any questions, we would love to help and get you set up on a search so you can better understand what's available in our marketplace. I hope you got value out of this video. If you did, do me a huge favor. Give me an internet high five by liking the video. If you've got any questions or comments, go ahead and comment below. And for more awesome videos about living in Tucson, your Tucson Real Estate Connection, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you hit that bell button, each and every time a video comes out, you're going to be notified. And at the end of this video, right over here, there's a video that YouTube's going to recommend that you might get value out of it. Go ahead and click on that. And in the meantime, make it a great day.